Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Okay. Dr. A.R. Jyotipriya is Assistant Professor of English at the Telangana Social Welfare Degree College. Uh, she has a PhD in English Literature from EFLU Hyderabad. Jyotipriya's areas of specialization and interest include the fantastic and supernatural in literature. Wow. Irish poetry. Wow, wow. And postmodern fiction. Triple wow. Um, she has published various academic articles and has presented conference papers both in India and abroad, besides delivering online lessons in English for undergraduate students through Doordarshan, Yadagiri, and TSAT channels. She is also a foreign language aficionado, holding an advanced diploma degree in Spanish. She was on the editorial board of Aesthetic Journal of International Literary Enterprise, Agile 2019-20. So, with such a literary background and particularly niche areas like the fantasy and supernatural genres, Irish poetry, postmodern fiction, I was really keen to see what her selection would be, and then it was a pleasant surprise to have this recent award-winning book by David Diop. So it's over to you, Jyoti, for your talk. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Am I audible? Am I visible?
Yes, you're
Yes.
both audible and visible. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, all of you. It's really a pleasure to be here on this platform. And I thank Mahbub, sir, once again for inviting me here. Many times I have been astonished by what you all do, right from book launches, right to the events that you do. I think I sometimes wonder what all you have done. I have not even done when I was in my PG. So congratulations to all of you on that account. And when Mehboob sir approached me for the selection of a book to give a book and asked me to give a book talk, for a long time I did not know what to talk about because there are a lot of choices. And being a literature student, the choices become even more so. So uh, it took me some time, but in the month of June, in the early June, on 2nd or 3rd, when the Booker Prize Committee announced the International Booker Prize, which was given to the French writer David Diop, and I went through the content of the book, what the book was about, what the story was about. I felt that I should talk about it. Initially, I was hesitant because it also consisted of graphic details, but I took it on my stride that I have to talk about this book. So from then onwards, I started reading the book, and here I'm today going to speak about the book. So basically, At Night All Blood is Black by David Diop, translated by Anna Moshko-Vakaris, uh, from the French to English, revolves around the character Alpha in DIA, who is basically guilty about not killing his more than brother and friend, whose name is Medamba. So the setting is basically on a battlefield. It is on the trenches of a battlefield. Trenches in the sense there are some narrow passages on the battlefield on either side. On one side you have the enemy, and on the other side you have the African soldiers who are fighting against the enemy soldiers, who are the Germans. So basically the setting is the World War One, wherein African soldiers are fighting for French French against the Germans. So why have the Africans been hired to fight the Germans, and why can't the French fight for themselves? There is a historical background to this, which I will be telling you at the end of this narrative. So to begin with, in the initial pages of the book, you see that Alpha India A is actually feeling guilty for not killing his friend Medamba. Initially, we don't understand how or why Medamba was killed. because the way he's described how he was killed is really very raw, in the sense Diop uses very what should I say, poignant language to describe how he was dismembered, his body was dismembered, how he was mutilated, and how he was about to die. And when he is about to die, he pleads Alpha to slit his throat because he cannot bear the pain. That is the reason he does not, he wants to be killed. But Alpha does not kill him. And the only thing that Alpha does at that point when Madamba is pleading him is to think of who killed Madamba. Okay? He's only thinking of the enemy who had done this to his friend. And what happens next is Madamba dies. Madamba dies, and that is where the switch happens. The switch in Alpha's mind that he should have killed his friend. But he cannot do anything about what happened. And so he brings the dismembered remains of his friend to his trench mates at night. And they all hail him as a hero because they believe that he has brought the body of his friend, and he's been very brave enough to do that. Bringing the body of your own friend and showing it in front of so many people is a matter of involving courage and bravery. And when he does that, he alone knows inside that he did not do the right thing. He should have, in fact, killed his own friend. So over in the first few chapters that you read in this book is all about him feeling sad and justifying ways for why he did not kill his friend. He cites humanity as reason. He says that as a human being and as the way I have been brought up from my childhood, I should not have killed my friend. But honestly, if I did not, if I were not told what to do and what not to do since my childhood, I would have directly killed my friend. I would have in fact killed him out of respect for him. And then the story moves on to this narrative that once he brings the dismembered remains of Madamba, the trench mates are very happy. They praise him, they feed him delicacies, they give him good food, and they respect him. But what happens is Madamba has another, Alpha has another purpose to his story. The story is, whenever there is a battle with the enemy, and he manages to kill them in the battle, what he does is he steals a rifle, and along with the rifle he brings a severed hand, okay, the hand of the enemy, as a proof that he has killed the enemy. Okay? So initially his trench mates are overjoyed. They praise him, they appreciate his bravery, that he's bringing the enemy's hand and is also bringing the rifle. Until the fourth hand, everything is fine. But once the fourth hand is brought into the picture, is brought into the trenches, they immediately start fearing Alpha. Why do they start fearing Alpha? Because it becomes very bloody, in the sense he could have just killed them, he could have just shot them, but instead of just shooting them or killing them, he mutilates them. The way he kills them is really gory, in the sense, it's, when you read the book you will understand how difficult it is to read some parts of the book. So when Suresh was talking about the funny boy, it was not so much about the war. Here in this book, it is more about the way a person is killed, the way people are dismembered, the way the enemy is massacred is what is the highlight of this novel rather than the story. Right. So this is where the fourth hand, there is this switch that happens where people, the trench mates and the captain including, he's afraid of Alpha. And what does Alpha do with these severed hands? The description is very scary, in the sense, what he does with the hands is that after mutilating them, he preserves them, and he hides them. He does not show it to anybody. So there is this connection between war and madness in the story. The sense that when you go for a war, you have to be really mad enough to kill somebody. You have to be in the settings. You have to immerse yourself in the bloodshed. You have to be absolutely inhumane to be able to conduct that act. So this is what Alpha tries to represent. He says very famously, he says, madness, temporary madness in war is bravery's sister. Temporary madness in war is bravery's sister. Madness is a necessity in war. One may like it, one may not like it, but it is a necessity. So on the whole, you can see that there is this process of uh, feeling to revenge for his friend's death. Like, he wants to take the revenge on the enemy for the murder of his friend Madamba. So that is what he justifies himself. They kill his friend, and so he has to revenge it on the enemy. And then later on, as this murder continues, as the mutilation continues, the dismemberment continues, and the bloodshed also continues, what happens is the trenchmates, his own friends, start to fear him so much that one day the captain comes and tells him that you need to, I think you need some rest. You need not stay here because I think you are affected by what you are going through. So you need rest, and so you take a month break and you go back to your own place. That is what the captain says. But Alpha knows what's the actual meaning. What is the actual meaning of what the captain is saying? Because he feels that the captain is saying this because he fears Alpha, because he fears that someday maybe Alpha will take his own place, and also because if he's not sent back home, and if he wanted, like, if the captain wanted, he could have killed his Alpha very easily, but he does not do that, because once he's sent back home, he will never know where the severed hands are, the severed hands. So what has the severed hands to do with Alpha? So the captain uses it as a proof, the severed hands as a proof to fight against Alpha. He can show to anybody, or he can tell anybody that Alpha was a madman, and he's not fit to be fighting in the war. That was the actual reason, or the main reason, why the captain asks uh, Alpha to go back to his native place. But Alpha knows the actual reason why the captain is asking him, but he does not reveal it. So one fine day, Alpha leaves the place, but before leaving, he ensures that he also takes the hands with him, the hands that he has preserved. And how does he preserve? Because there is no place to preserve what he has mutilated. How will he preserve? There is no space at all. So one day, what happens? The captain, he instructs the trench mates that before Alpha leaves for his native place, you have to go through his things, go through his trunks, and see if there are the severed hands are lying there or not, so that we can use it against him in the future. But what Alpha does very intelligently is that he puts it in a trunk and puts a kind of camouflage around it. Make camouflage in the sense, he paints a diagram of a hand, a mutilated hand, on the trunk, by which, after the trenchmen see that, they immediately get scared and they do not search the trunk. But they lie to the captain that they did not find the severed hand. So this is the way Alpha manages to take the severed hands to his native place. Now, coming back, this is actually, I would say that this is the like a first part, though it is not very explicitly mentioned. In the second half of the novel, what I see is basically Alpha is in his native place. He's completely away from war. He's surrounded by a doctor, Francois. His name is Francois, and he's surrounded by people and memories of his mother, memories of his beloved, and also memories of Madamba. So during his recuperation, he draws the picture of Madamba, he draws the picture of his mother, he draws the picture of the severed hands, by which the doctor understands that Alpha is going completely mad. So throughout the novel, you will see from the beginning till the end that Alpha is continuously descending into a certain kind of madness and also guilt for not having been able to save his friend. And at the end, what happens is very blurry, in the sense it's very ambiguous. Diop does not make it very clear what Alpha is going through, but it sorts of conveys that maybe both Madamba and Alpha are in the same body, as Alpha, but they're thinking differently. So, so basically, it is about he's giving this his message that Madamba is still alive. Yeah? Though he might have died young, he's still within him, and whether it is me or him, it doesn't make any difference. So this is what the story is all about. It is very raw in its description. It is meaty, and when you read it, you often feel that it is a little crimped, in the sense sometimes you feel that some descriptions are very heart wrenching, especially when how he kills the enemy soldiers. So coming back to the title of the novel, that is At Night All Blood is Black. S- The title means that, at when there is war, people go out and fight, and it happens at night. At night, the blood is turned black, because of the sky that reflects the light. Because of the sky, you feel that blood is black in color. So the title has been named all At Night All Blood is Black. So if I have to give my opinion or my take on this book, I believe that uh, the translator has done a very good job of translating into from French to English. But I feel, as a professor of African literature, as a professor of 18th century African literature, David Diop could have done a better job at his prose and his prose style, because I felt it was a little simplistic in nature. The themes that he has discussed about African savagery, or the war, or the madness, or even the sexual encounters that he has had, is a little too simplistic to be just completed in a 150-page book. But I feel the essence of the knowledge of the novel lies in actually asking this question of what it means to be a human, and how men or women will uh, uh, will react to difficult situations in war. No? What will war make us, or what will war turn us into? And who is the enemy? What are we fighting for? What does it mean to be human in the face of crisis? See, if I connect it to the present day scenario, see, even during COVID-19 situation, we have the Israel-Palestine issue. There are still bombardments. There is still violence. So what does it really mean to be a human? Is what this novel asks. To give a backdrop or the background to the French and the German war, I found out that basically during the World War One, the French decided they would hire the Africans to fight against the Germans, but the Germans were against the idea that Africans should be hired to fight against them, because they believed that Africans were a racist group. They were not civilized. They were barbaric, and so they were not eligible to fight for the war. But in order to humiliate Germany, France decided that anyway they should hire the soldiers, and they hired Senegalese soldiers from Africa, and then they fought the war. And during that period of time, around 450,000 Africans were killed. So this is the backdrop that Diop sets a century later after that World War One happened, and he's trying to bring out questions that are very sensitive. What does it mean to be an African today? What does it mean to be human today? Are Africans just a monolithic representation of savagery? Is it just about violence? Is it just about their color that has everything to do with them? Or is it something more? These are the things that I wanted to discuss. If I can take more questions, then maybe there could be a discussion on this topic. Thank you, Mahmood sir.
Jyoti, quickly on your likes, dislikes of the book.
Pardon, sir?
Your likes, dislikes.
I liked that it was moving. The novel was very moving. It captured the emotions of Alpha, and it also made us very sensitive. Actually, you feel very sensitive to the whole situation at large.
And you got a few points on your dislikes also in the slide.
Yes. It is a very thin book and is a very spare book. I wish he could have elaborated more on the African identity, how the Africans are viewed. Mostly, he was focusing on the emotional part. Why he should have killed his friend. Why did he refrain himself for not killing? So these are majorly the points of concern that he brings it, but nothing more than that. It's not intellectually stimulating in that sense. This is what I felt.
Was it by purpose that you are in the black?
Yeah,
yeah. I think there's a power cut. I was really
very good coincidence. And when you came,
at night, at night, all blood is black, I guess.
And when you discuss the book, the whole screen is black too. Yours, right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that.
No problem.
No. It just added up to the context of the book. Everything it just added. It's perfect.
Right. I mean, when you talk about war and death and savagery, it should present like this only. So,
sir, I would like to say that I have read this book.
No, hold on. 1 second, Nina.
Sorry.
Surya ma'am, there's an echo from your phone, so I'll put you on mute for now.
No, I wanted to ask a question, so I unmuted.
Quickly, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, I just want to say the book explores the shocking and dehumanizing consequences of colonialism and the violence and war.
Okay, what's your question, Surya ma'am?
My question is, does the book explore the shocking and dehumanizing consequences of colonialism, violence and war?
Okay. Got it.
I'm asking.
Okay, madam.
Sorry, ma'am, I was not able to hear.
Does the book explore the shocking aspects of colonialism? The violence and...
No. It does not explore. Mostly it is about what the protagonist feels. Usually in Chinua Achebe's novels or in Toni Morrison's novels, who are African writers, you see this post-colonial narratives. But in this book, you don't see that. I wouldn't say it is a post-colonial narrative. It is usually set in the World War One.
Okay, so the book doesn't touch much on the evils of colonialism, apart from the
No,
fact that African soldiers are fighting for France. There's nothing much about French domination or conquering lands or stuff like that.
no, no.
All right. Okay. Okay. That so Surya ma'am, that's the answer. So it doesn't
Yeah, I
explore
thought
much on the
that is
colonial
my
aspects of.
perception. Yeah,
All right, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah.
only that's my
Hello.
perception.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Okay. So we'll open it up
Can
for
I?
Suresh Babu. Go
Yeah.
ahead, please. Suresh, please.
Now, Hari, sir.
Uh,
Hello.
Go ahead. Ask, please, if you have any question. Oh, Hari,
Yeah.
Sir. Hari, sir. Go ahead, please. Yeah, yeah.
In fact, I have read a long review in
Mhm.
today's Hindu magazine about the
Okay.
same book.
Okay.
Uh, that that review says more about this anti-war side of the
Right.
than the African identity. In fact.
Yes, yes.
So after reading that review and even after listening you,
Mm-hmm.
I do not know what stood the book for the Booker Prize. In fact, especially the book
Right.
is, you say it is only 150 pages.
Right.
Normally the Booker Prize is given more comprehensive volumes. Okay, and
No, before Jyoti
Yeah.
answers, this is not a straight booker. It's a booker for the translation, right?
Yeah, it is Booker for the translation, sir. It's
The man
translated
booker,
from French to English.
but the
okay,
man booker prize was gone to somebody else. This is the other
is
category,
for translation.
Booker
Okay,
International or Booker for translation. I think.
No, no, it
No,
is
no.
it is. Sorry, there's an echo.
Incoming Toggle Gobbins. Your meeting. Toggle Gobbins.
Yeah, yeah. Nina, please say. You were saying
No,
something.
actually, sir, I had if you have seen the entire ceremony, there was a reading from each of the shortlisted novels, the five top, and this was selected as not in the translation category. I mean, if I could elaborate more, I mean a little bit more. I mean, there was a war of the poor, which I felt was much deserving than this. Not just because there was something, there was a reading about it, expert about it, and the way that I mean, Jyoti ma'am has done it, I would never be able to do it because I read the book and it's very disturbing to
Yeah.
narrate it again, go through that process. You've done it beautifully because as I was reading it, I guess it is because it's like in a trance. The book is written it like in a first person, like I am and I am. So you feel like it is happening to you. And there are
Right.
so many lines which are having a constant repetition in a way that it's like you're being hypnotized.
Hypnotized.
And
Yeah.
I never
Actually,
yeah.
ma'am, it usually happens in poetry. Basically, the lines are repeated in poetry. But here you see that happening in prose. So
Yes,
it's a kind of rekindling that memory again and again. You
yeah.
will not
And
forget the
that
book
shook
because of
me.
that.
Yeah, and that shook me.
Yeah.
I was kind of disturbed. Every minuscule character that he comes across, Alpha comes across, he goes into the depth of that just with so many lines, and you really feel like, they're right in front of you. And I really don't want to shake hands with such persons. If it was for real, I would just stay away from. So it was
Yes.
very disturbing. It was really you took a lot of efforts to go through that again, and it was. I mean, being very sensitive, I was shaken by the book. Yeah, but thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So Jyoti, Harisa's question was
Yes.
that the Hindus review talks about anti-war as the philosophy of the book, and you are more about the human condition. So he had asked, I think, if I remember correctly, what stood out? What is this book about? What does it stand for?
Sir, the book is about war and madness. What humans turn into when they are faced with war. War makes a person to go mad. So I would say that this book basically is about how it affects a human and the senselessness of war. Why are we fighting for? And for whom are we fighting for? Are we and the other, that is the enemy, not the same, not one and the same? Yes, at a fundamental level, we are same, but our ideals may be different.
Right.
So these are the questions that
Right.
we try to answer.
War is such a dense and disturbing thing, and to use it as a backdrop for a novel,
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite intricate because war is the only place where killing is justified.
Yes.
Apart from self-defense, if somebody is trying to kill you, you will kill them. That's one. Self-defense is one place, and war is the second place. These are the only two places where morally killing is justified. And
Yes.
uh, to question, even in that scenario,
Mm.
why is how do we be human? Is I think I mean I don't think many people can write and do justice to that kind of theme. Uh, to be human and have a war at the backdrop. Why do we kill and what is it? And to descend into madness. Why say be normal life in a city where all facilities from credit cards to electricity, water, everything is there. Even then, people are descending into madness. Think about a hostile terrain where night either you go to kill or somebody comes to kill you, and then come out of that. It's not madness. It's perhaps madness to the power of madness amplified a great dole. It is difficult to be uh, imagine being a human and be in a situation where mutilated parts are part of your daily life. So, based on what you're saying, it would be, I think, more poetic in the original. I don't know how translations come through. If I assume that it is written in French, is it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think
Yes.
it will be real pleasure to read in French because people who
Mm.
are read in French, the French writers, and then the translation actually see a lot of uh, differences, nuances. Uh, and I recently listened to a lady. Dostoevsky is a Russian writer, but he wrote Demons in French, and she
Mm.
has read the original in French, and she was presenting like you presented on the English translation. It says it doesn't quite sound like the same. Like the original book has three different titles in English translations. One title is the same book, Dostoevsky book. So if you search Amazon, there will be demons, the possessed, and something else. So I mean, I was just wondering as you were saying that for those who know French and read this, how poetic and gory would the original be? I mean,
Mm.
uh, describing mutilated hands, gory war, bloodshed
Right.
in as poetic and romantic a language as French is
Mm.
just too ironical. It's just too,
Too ironical. That's
yeah,
that's the right word, actually.
right. And then perhaps lucky are those who can get to read the original French. But I think even the way you presented, I could feel it, the whole goriness and madness. So before I go on and on, I'll keep rambling like this. Any other
Priya,
thoughts?
Mehboob sir,
Suresh, yes, please.
Priya, you did well as always. And
Thank you.
I just want to ask you that how do since you spoke about African identity, how do you define identity? Because identity and crisis, as an important phenomenon in literature, in current scenario. So, how do you define identity? What is identity for you?
Identity is an individual choice, I guess. But more often than not, we are often socially conditioned to believe and follow a certain path or a certain value or a principle in life. But I think identity is when we question ourselves what we truly are, what is our motive for being here, and what is the purpose of life. So, identity is a very personal choice. It is a personal question that each one needs to ask themselves. It is not defined by the society, it is defined by you.
Yeah, it is like in the Funny Boy also we see RG wants to be identified in a him as what he is as a person, and he wants to be acknowledged by the society for what he is. He doesn't want to be tamed.
Yes.
This is what is, yeah. So thank you and congratulations for your presence.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Suresh.
And one thing I would like to add to both Jyoti and Suresh is it's very difficult to deal with identity in the singular.
Hmm.
Yeah,
If you look at me, what you're seeing on the screen is my digital identity, right? And if you meet me in person, the first thing you'll see is a man. But then I'm also a husband, father, programmer, Muslim, Telugu. There's layers and layers of identity that is built on as we grow from childhood. Maybe as a boy I was just a boy. But once I'm in adulthood, there is multiple identities, and on a given day, a combination of those identities comes into play when I'm awake. And there are some things that the unconscious, the subconscious registers and conveys to me in my dreams that, oh, maybe you are a duck or something. Uh, so it's very difficult to answer the identity in the singular. But what I've seen is there is a combination of identities that plays out at a given point of time, and each one of us has multiple of those. If you want to distill to one singular identity and ask, who am I? You can probably spend 7 lifetimes answering that question. Am I a programmer? Am I a writer? What am I? Who am I? Probably one lifetime is not enough for that. All right. All right. I can go on again rambling like this. Any other feedback, question, queries? Lavanya?
I'm still trying to digest the war thing.
Okay.
But I think I
But
don't know what to say.
but somehow I think you'd have liked the way it started. That no.
I want to see how the narration is being done for that. Not now, maybe later on. But I probably will pick up the book for just the narration. But I think I was a little bit confused when Jyoti was actually telling the story summary. She said at one point that this guy sees his friend in himself, right? It's like split personality or something, is it?
No, towards the end, towards the
Okay.
end,
Yeah.
they are no longer different people. He
They're
carries the
never.
hand. He carries the hands back to hometown as a paint, and then realizes that the dead friend lives through him. That's what Jyoti said.
Right.
I mean,
Actually, there are two people in the
because
same body.
trauma, whatever it is, war, violence.
Yeah, you are breaking
That's what is
Lavanya.
called as split personality. Yeah. So that is what is called as split personality. When there are two identities in one body.
No,
No, no,
Sir,
but the
I
whole
don't
story
think
is
it
about
is
two
not.
different people.
It is
The
two
whole
different.
story is about two. It's not one Frankenstein or whatever that story is. Jekyll and Hyde, not like that. It's two different people here. The whole book is about. Sorry, Nina, I cut you off. Sorry, go ahead.
no, it was okay. I was just reminded. No, I'm sorry. Was I interrupting Jyoti ma'am? Were you about to say
No,
something?
no, ma'am. You can continue.
No, it was there's a kind of innuendo before the story ends. It's like about a lion sorcerer and a fickle princess, something, the hunter savior. So once you read that, I mean, suddenly this cocktail comes up which you have to read. I mean, I find it very ironical and metaphor. Something that happens in our life also. I mean, in the lives of girls also. We always fall for the chiseled young handsome man, and usually, but it turns out they have different layers to it. You should definitely read it. And then the person who comes with a lot of scars saves her and all. So very very abruptly, I mean, and I was not expecting, it was a very sudden twist. The last chapter or the last few pages is suddenly, when you read it, it was always like Alpha telling, I did it. Suddenly it is Madame Bay, and he is telling that how he has embodied, or he's now living through Alphas. I mean, not like split personality, but yeah, kind of a madness, but not exactly that. Once you read, you will get to know. That's pretty
Yeah.
I was confused on that part.
And
Totally.
he also
Like, what
says
was the
that
author
he's not a
trying to tell?
handsome man. he says that he's not a handsome man, whereas Madamba was a handsome guy. He was the nice guy, whereas he was not such a nice guy from inside. From outside, he looked good. He was handsome, but from inside, Madamba was the best. So in this context,
Whatever. I
the
feel
story
like
was told. Yeah.
split personality only. Maybe the way the
Lavanya
author
was
has
saying
put it
something.
could be a different caption.
No,
Yeah, I'm just saying.
No, I feel Alpha
no.
is dead. That's what I felt.
Yeah,
I felt
Alpha is
that
dead.
Alpha is dead. I mean, after the death of his friend, which he had, he was entitled. He was like very grateful to Madambi for, he was taken up, adopted to a family and all. And we are like, more than brother friend. That's what Jyoti ma'am also used. So after that part is dead, now he no longer lives. It is only, that way. So it's a some weird kind of madness that he has come up with. He's like a soccer and he doesn't know what to do and everything. So it's something I guess once you are in the trenches of the war, that the war madness that gets into you, you lose your senses and you lose everything. It's all a mess, and or I don't know how, as Jyoti ma'am said, how they live the very next day, thinking that they are alive and their dear ones are dead and right in front of their eyes. Very gory.
Okay,
Okay.
Lavanya, sorry, you were saying something. You got, I think audio was fluctuating. Go ahead, Lavanya.
No, I was sorry. I was just saying that looks. It felt to me like in the end, it's like a split personality. Now, why I was saying that was I read somewhere. I was actually watching a show, Oprah Winfrey show, and in that there was a woman who had so many personalities, and there was also a doctor who said trauma. What the one of the way that we human beings deal with trauma is we try to create another identity within ourselves, okay, to fight that trauma. So I was just trying to connect this story and that thing, that what the doctor said. I think in this story, probably I didn't read it, what the author wants to intend, I am not sure about it, but people behave differently when, during trauma. And it could be one way of Alpha trying to salvage him, because I think
Right.
Jyoti was telling in the start that he felt very guilty of his friend's death. So that guilt and maybe the horrors of war actually transformed him into his friend, as if his friend is alive or he himself is his friend. Probably, I don't know. So I was just thinking, probably that was the author wanted to say that it was his way of trying to live the horrors of the war. At one point or another, we humans have to find out some solution to kind of uh, to react to such kind of situation. So maybe it was just a thought. I don't know, but felt like that. The author was kind of subtly
No,
telling
no,
that maybe.
that's a valid
Yeah.
interpretation, because every reader can connect to the book and the material in a different way.
Right.
So if you have that connection, probably that's worth exploring, whether the layer of split personality as an escape route to trauma is found in the book. That can only be found by reading yourself or ourselves, so we can find out.
Right.
Right. So we have a military person here, Hari sir,
Correct.
ex-military, who is retired from Indian Army. Sir, Hari sir,
Yes, sir. Yes.
there should be no war, right?
No, it's actually it's basically it's savagery. What I understand
Uh-huh.
comes from his loss of his friend.
Uh-huh.
So,
But
so
but but Hari sir, have you ever killed another soldier or seen somebody killed an enemy soldier or something like that? No, first-hand experience.
of course no, but that is see. There were so many anti-war novels in literature. Basically, we have seen, especially after Second World War,
Right.
a lot of novels and even non-fictions, anti-war non-fictions have come up. But that doesn't make any difference. as you said, even in between the city, we are mad.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So idealism is something else, and what practically we face, how I'm practical living is a different. So although we can wish for uh, and for an anti-war, I mean, a world without war, and basically as far as Indian defense forces are, ours is a defense force. We are not for war. Our basic purpose is to prevent a war. No soldier, I can tell you, no soldier likes a war.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
in fact, the extreme anti-war activists are soldiers. In fact,
Veterans.
only
Yeah.
thing we are pushed into the war. Of course, it is from the beginning, as you know, from the beginning of humankind, there has been war. Hopefully, it is. Let us hope that it will in near future, or I mean, in future it will. We get an someone call it a utopian, but still we can wish a world without war. Hopefully, thank
Uh,
you.
no, no, sir. War will move on to cyberspace and bio war. Uh, so the war will now take place as games. So each country will try to s- beat the hit. I mean, SHIT out of the other countries' computer networks. So either through infiltration or shutting them down, or it will be bio weapons. Humans won't kill humans. Systems will kill systems. Is what it is going to be. So there is
In this novel, I just want to intervene. In this novel, if you see, this Alpha is not actually a soldier; he's a mercenary brought from Africa. Like as we Indians, we fought for English in the first war.
right,
These people were brought from their colonies. So it is
right.
not because of patriotism or anything.
That is
Either they must have, I mean, they fought for
drafted.
money,
Mhm.
or they must have been brought forcefully. So
Drafted. Yeah.
this is nothing for
Anybody.
this was they didn't fight for patriotism, in fact.
Mhm.
So these are multifaceted. We can't, in fact, we can't discuss in and put into. I mean, a limited time. We can't conclude it. In fact,
Mhm. All right. So Murli sir has put a note in the chat that from an individual's perspective, the identity is the role he identifies himself with and wants the world to call him one. From the second person or society's perspective, we see the choice of one role or dimension of an individual from a whole lot of his identities. It, it mirrors the person's narrow outlook. Okay. So the self identity and the your identity as the society looks at is different, and it is the society the way it looks it kind of is an amalgamation of various identities as one singular thing. This is what Mehboob is what he's saying here, I think. Right. All right. So I think we have covered what we all set out to. Anything you wanted to say, Jyoti, on this book before we wrap up?
Sir, I would recommend this for those who are brave enough, in the sense they don't mind reading very raw descriptions of war and the way he murders people. So for a first time read, it's a good book. It's a good book. But
So be warned, not for the faint-hearted,
yeah.
is what Jyoti is saying, and I like it. And Lavanya will take it actually, if you want like
Mm.
that. All right, it's been a good discussion today. I really enjoyed all the three books, listening to all the three books: Eat, Pray, Love, Funny Boy, and At Night. All Blood is Black. Is that what it is? Yeah, All Blood is
All
Black.
blood is black.
All Blood is Black. So it was wonderful from a spiritual self journey quest to homosexuality and coming of age in a Tamil Sinhalese war setting to a brutal war philosophy, what it means to be human and to descend into madness post war. I think we covered a lot of ground in terms of literature, what we can write as themes and bring out as books to the world. And I think some of us should try one of these three books. If we can't read all of us can't read all the books. So thank you very much for attending, and it's a close from here. Have a good remaining part of